Hey guys, so for this part of the tutorial, what I want to do is review some thumbnails. So of course in the last section you would have seen I explained what makes a good thumbnail and what necessarily doesn't make a good thumbnail and what makes an engaging thumbnail. So what better way to do this than to go into YouTube and take a look at some thumbnails. So the first thing I want you guys to do is head over to YouTube and type in a search that would generate a list of results within your niche. So for my niche, I work in digital marketing. So I'm going to type something in pretty generic around digital marketing. So I'm going to type in SEO tips. Okay, so now you see a list of results. And what I'm going to do is just a very quick scan through the results and see what I can see. Just load some of these up and I'm going to go back to the top in a second. And we're going to start looking at these thumbnails and kind of seeing which ones are good and which ones aren't so good. Okay. So at the very top, you have my biggest channel in my niche, Neil Patel, who's an absolute legend of internet marketing. Really great stuff he does. And his site is top, but let's take a look at his thumbnail. So he's got good quality photography. That's obviously a professional photo. He's got a good amount of text that's easily readable, but not too much text. The only criticism I have is that this particular thumbnail doesn't stand out because the use of color isn't that strong. So if you look at the page, even though it's number one, I'd actually be more tempted to click the second link, which is Brian Dean, another massive heavyweight in the online marketing world. And Backlinko, his channel, uses a very strong green for its color. So this really stands out and looks really interesting. His photography is not as good as Neil Patel's photography, but the branding, this is a really important thing as well. The branding of his thumbnail is very clear. And I can see two more below that. You can see he's got another one. So you can see his brand is consistent. But the only, I guess, criticism I can levy here is that he's used the same image in multiple thumbnails, and it's something he does because, in all honesty, because he's such a big name in online marketing, he doesn't really do much on YouTube anyway. I think he's only released maybe 25 videos, so he's living off, I guess, the legacy of uploading really awesome content a few years ago. So he doesn't need to do anything to his thumbnails. But in the real world, when you're a small YouTuber and you need to get your thumbnails to a point where you get a share of the clicks, when you do start showing up on page one of YouTube, then it's really important to optimize your thumbnails. So let's continue down a little bit again. Again, we hit the heavy hitters, Neil Patel again. This thumbnail's a bit better in terms of color. There's a bit more color there. It's still got a good title in terms of the text content within the image, which is good. And if we go further down again, let's start looking at some new people because we're coming up to the same guys over and over again. And you see, this is where it becomes really important to do SEO because this particular keyword, SEO tips, is way, way, way too competitive for my channel to target. So I can add that tag into my videos as SEO tips as a tag to hope that YouTube suggests my content to people watching something like this. But in terms of SEO itself, it's very, very unlikely that I would ever rank for this term. And that's just the nature of the beast on YouTube. It's a very mature platform. It's been around for a long time, and I was late to the party. And I'm sure a lot of you were as well. But again, this course will highlight how to find the right keywords to target. And for me, this isn't one of them. Anyway, I'm going off topic here, but let's continue down. So this thumbnail here, where it says this SEO strategy works, that is a good hook to have in your text. I think it invokes more thought than any of the other ones I've seen already. But the problem is, I guess, from a branding point of view, it's very grey, it's very dull. It doesn't necessarily stand out very well. So for me, I think this thumbnail is good on one side, but not good on the other side as well. And also, he's covered his face and he's badly cropped the image here as well. You can see the image isn't cropped that well. So that's another issue for me as well. This one's good. I like this one, and it's from Ahrefs, which is an SEO tool, so they have a lot of following, a massive channel. So when you look at this particular picture, you've got a person drawing your attention to the picture. It's a bit of an action shot. The text is a bit small and a bit unreadable. It's not the best size, but I think overall it's generally a good thumbnail. They've made use of their orange kind of yellowy brand colors as well, which is good, and that's a really good thumbnail. Now, before I continue criticizing thumbnails that are all good, I mean, these thumbnails are overall pretty good. So if you're doing something along these lines in your thumbnails, following these kind of conventions in terms of strong colors, using good branding, using a good hook within the text, then you're following a good practice. Now, if we go further down, I spotted one here. This thumbnail is awful. It's really, really bad. Now, this person in particular, I don't know anything about his channel. I've never heard of him. He's done well to rank on the first page, I guess, if you count the number of results. Technically, he's in the top 10 on this particular search term, which is good. And there's a video he's only produced 3 months ago, which is good. However, if you look at his thumbnail, it's pretty awful. It's very busy. The text isn't that readable. He's got too much text in the thumbnail. There's no brand identity. He's got random uses of color, which I don't understand. And it just doesn't look good. It's not very clear. And it's not something that's highly clickable. But at the end of the day, he's doing well to rank on page 1 of YouTube for this particular term. But he could be doing even better with a better thumbnail. I think if he got good branding on his thumbnails, he would be doing a lot better. And as you see here, you're noticing a pattern of the same YouTubers coming up over and over again, and the similar branding here again from Backlinko. And overall, I mean, for example, this particular thumbnail, it's a very old video, and that's because he came to the party early, so therefore he can have a lot of views. It's been around for 7 years. So this particular thumbnail, I'm guessing, is literally a cap from his video. So he's not actually generated a thumbnail in this situation. So what I would advise you is always try and create a thumbnail. Never use a screenshot from your video as your thumbnail. You can use part of a screenshot. So for example, take a screenshot of your video when you have a good expression or something that's expressionate, and then layer that with text and design and branding. That could be a good thumbnail. However, don't just go with a plain screenshot because it just doesn't look good. And again, on this page, this guy, I don't think he's going to get the best click-through rate as a result of that. So guys, I hope you guys now understand what makes a good thumbnail. This isn't a design course, this is an SEO course, but it's more around the idea that you should be aware of this particular ranking factor. And again, there's a number of resources out there in terms of thumbnail design. There's thumbnail templates available. Design isn't something I do. I do the technical marketing stuff, so for me this isn't something I want to cover in detail, but I thought I'd better put this in the course because it's going to add value to you guys, and it's something that you guys are going to need to do from an SEO point of view because it will support you when you try and rank your videos. Thanks for watching this section. Let's carry on with the course.